Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to have this math workshop. So it is 1.5 hours, right? So actually there's a time limitation. I cannot cover every topics. So I just can teach you the techniques to answer the paper and cover few topics on it. So at first, okay, I'm teacher Steven, okay, and then we'll talk about the paper components. That means what you know about this paper. I mean, how should you answer the papers? So at first, before you answer the paper, you need to look at the instructions, right? So let's look at the instruction. Answer all the questions. Okay, that means no question can be skipped. Okay, you need to answer all questions. Again, use a black or dark blue pen. That means you have to use pen. Don't use pencil for your writing, but you still can use pencil for diagram, for sketching diagram. All right. And then, of course, this one you should know. Write your name, sender number, candidate number in the boxes at the top of the pages. So make sure every time before you pass up, you have to check all this information are written on your paper. And then write your answer to each question in the space provided. As you know, right, in your paper, there's always a space at the bottom right corner. So always write your final answer in that space provided. So the reason of doing this is just for the examiner, for them to easier for marking. So if you forget to put the answer in the space provided, then how? Don't worry, they will still look for your final answer in your working. All right. So anyway, just try your best to put your answer in the space provided. Next thing is what? Do not use erasable pen. You know, right? Some of the pen can be erased, so you don't use that. Or use a correction flute. That means or correction tip. All these are not allowed. So if you write something wrong, then how? It just cross, okay? Just cross it. Another thing is this one. In the instruction, there's a one line about this one. You may use tracing paper. Anyone know what is tracing paper? You don't know, right? Let me show you what it is tracing paper. Okay. Basically, tracing paper is for drawing one. Okay, it's for drawing. Sorry, the media guys. This one is that's not in my tablet one. I'm shooting at this whiteboard. Okay, so this one, basically this paper is transparent one. You just have to you need to draw something on the transparent paper, and then put it over the paper, especially for drawing the rotation, the one image of rotation. You see how they use this tracing paper. Okay, there's a center, right? Put at it, and then you turn the tracing paper. You see how he does it. You know how he does it? All right. Then you can know the diagram will be there. This is something new, right? You don't know, right? I leave it for this workshop. That's why you need to attend the workshop. Okay. Now you know, right? How we turn it. So that's a transparent paper actually. You look at the transparent paper. There's a transparent paper. Now, can you see the transparent paper? They draw on it one. Okay. So now you get the idea, right? This is what I call tracing paper. Yeah, this is allowed in the exam because in the instruction, right, you may use tracing paper. But so far I've been evaluated for 3 years. No one's, now the student that use this tracing paper. So for those who want to use tracing paper, you have to find out, or maybe you have to prepare your own. I'm not sure this one. You have to find out whether you really allow or not. You have to ask me. I need to ask the Mr. Su also if you want to use tracing paper. All right. For other centers, have to find out with the exam officer they want. All right. Okay. Then do not write on any barcodes. All of you know, right? The barcode have some information. If you write something on it, then they cannot extract the information from that. So don't write anything on barcodes. You should use a calculator where appropriate. So look at the sentence where appropriate. That means there are sometimes are not appropriate, right? So all the time they are not appropriate. Certain question they will tell you that calculator is not allowed, right? Does that mean that you cannot use calculator? Will the invigilator come to look for you and keep an eye on you when you do to the certain question They will double confirm, make sure that you don't use the calculator. No, right? The invigilator won't do that. All right. So even though there's a questions that stated calculator is not allowed, you still can use calculator for checking the final answer, not for giving the answer only. All right, for you to check your answer. So anyway, you still have to show your working. For those questions that the calculator is not allowed, show your full working. So you must show all the necessary working clearly. For pi, you can use either the calculator value. So normally we just use take the values from calculator, the pi value from calculator. We don't use the 3.142. It's less accurate actually. But anyway, you still can use that because in the instruction. And the last part is the one that I want to emphasize. This one. Give non-exact numerical answer correct to 3 significant figures. Or 1 decimal place for angles in. Yeah. So this one, don't misunderstand this statement. Some of the students that misunderstand that they can give 3 significant figures or 1 decimal place, but they miss out the last part here. They thought that it's either 3 SF or 1 decimal place. It's not. 1 decimal place is only for angles in degrees. So don't misunderstand the statement here. So, okay, always give non-exact numerical answer to 3 SF unless there's a different level of accuracy is specified in the questions. So there are the notes you need to take, you need to pay attention. Okay, the first one, for exact values, then you don't go to correct it. Exact values, you don't go to correct them. You just keep with the exact values. The 3 SF is only for, look at the instruction, is non-exact numerical answer. Anyone know what is exact and non-exact values? What does it mean by exact and non-exact? Exact, that means you can express it in fraction, or the decimal places are not repeating, or not repeating. There's a certain number of places. I mean, there's a limit of how should I say? It's not endless one. Okay, the decimal number is not endless one. It will stop at somewhere one. Right? That one is exact. Okay, so for this kind of values, exact value, you keep it as exact value. Like sometimes when we want to find out the mean, right? You will have a lot of places at the back. It's not non-exact, it's exact, right? Just keep with the original values. Don't go to correct it to 3SF. Okay. The next one is the angle. As I said, this one you correct it to 1 decimal place. For bearing, okay, bearing you give 3 digits. If you give 2 digits, then how? Even less than 100, like 90, 90, right? Okay. So if you write 90, then the mark will be deducted. No, in mark scheme, they won't deduct you. Okay, but in our normal practice in mathematics, we always write 3 digits for bearing one. But so don't go to take risk, go to write 2 digits for bearing. Write 3 digits. Better you write 3 digits. Okay. Money, always 2 decimal places, as I said every time. So money, you know, why always 2 decimal places? Anyone can explain? Why not 3? Why must be 2? Because the smallest unit in money is cent. Cent, right? So cent is how many dollar? 1 cent is how many dollar? 0.01. That's why 2 decimal places. Right? The smallest that you can get is 2 decimal places. That's why it's only 2 decimal places. Okay. For bound value, this is very important. Bound values, that mean what? Upper bound, lower bound. All these you don't go to correct it. Because bound value is the actual value. It's not the estimated value. Or even though it's maybe non-exact or exact, we don't care. I think it's exact, still exact one. The bound value is still exact one. So if they are exact, you just give the original values. Bound values, especially the bound values. Because bound values a lot, sometimes it has a lot of decimal places one. You still have to write all one. Okay. All right, techniques of answering the graph question. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is about answering the graph. So you know, right? For paper 4, we have graph question. At least 1 question is graph, maybe 2. All right, so for graph, it carries lots of marks. If you look at the marks, it's actually it could be up to 15 marks. 50 mark over 130, right? Your total mark for paper 4 is 130. And for the graph, it's already 15. It's carrying a lot of marks. So you need to know how to answer the graph properly. Okay? So this one, I forgot to share you the questions. All right. This is a question I want to let you see. Can see or not? Okay. Oh yeah, this one. Actually, I want to show you how to use calculator. Okay, this one I have to use my laptop. Sorry, it takes some time. I forgot I'm using the tablet here. I need to convert the. Sorry. I think never mind. I think you know how to use calculator, right? How should I show you? All right, wait. I will let you see. Just a minute. All right, just a minute. Okay, the Zoom people can see. All right, I will show you how to use calculator. Yeah, everyone can see. Yeah, all right. So let's say you want to fill in the values in the table. So there's a technique. Okay, you don't need to key in the values one by one. All right, you can use the table, the function of table in your calculator. So how we do that? Go to menu, and then there's a table, right? Where's the table? Here. Look for the table, and then you key in the function. So you key the function, you follow this exactly, right? So there's a fraction, you put fraction, and then x to the power of 3 over 3 minus, put a fraction again, 1 over 2x squared. Okay, then you press enter, equal sign. For another function, you just skip it. How you skip it? You just press enter again, just skip it. All right, then start with what? Look at the values of this. It starts from -3 all the way to 3, right? From -3, and then you enter it, and then you press 3. Okay, about the step is the difference between the values. So what should you put here? Okay, you can put 0.5 because here you got the 0.5, right? From 1 to 0, from -1 to -0.5, the difference is 0.5. So you better put 0.5. Okay, you put 0.5. This one step 0.5. You press enter. Then the calculator will show you the values. Can see or not? Can see? All right. So we want the values for -0.5. You look for -0.5. Where is it? You go down there. See, there's a value here. All right. -0.5 is -2.041. There you got it. Just right here. Okay. How many decimal places? How many decimal places? You follow this one, right? One decimal place. You just follow one decimal place. Then how about the next one? Where is it? All right. Sorry. All right. Next one is 1, right? Look for the 1. 1 is negative. Okay. Negative 0.2. You round off. Okay, round it off. Negative 0.166. You round up, become negative 0.2. And then how about the 2? It is 1, right? So it will save your time if you know how to use your calculator, all right, to answer the question. So this is one of the techniques, right? You need to know. All right, then, okay, now we look at the graph. All right, this one, I can skip it already. Okay, now I convert back to tablet. All right, come back already. Okay, after you have drawn the graph, okay, drawn the points, all right? So how you join the point? Okay, make sure you know when you draw the graph, it's within the range. Look at the instruction. Instruction here is from what? From -3 to less than -0.3, right? So you start from here and then all the way to here. Then you don't go to connect these 2 points. You connect these 2 points, 1 mark will be deducted 1. Because you didn't follow the instruction, you say what? It's until here. And then another part is here. From 0.3 until 3. From 0.3 until 3. And you cannot connect, another reason is what? Because y-axis is the asymptote. If you know about asymptote, yeah, you know what it means. Right? Asymptote, there's no graph can be on the asymptote one. You cannot cross the asymptote one. All right. So make sure you don't make this mistake. And then this one, very popular one. Always ask you to draw the tangent line. And find estimate of the gradient of the curve at x equals to -2. So you know how to draw a tangent line. You know the meaning of tangent line, right? A line that what? That touches the curve at only 1 point. That's the meaning of tangent line. So how you make sure that you draw the line that only touches the curve at 1 point? What's the point here? It's -2, right? So look at where is -2. It's here. Right? This one. So how you draw a tangent line? So different people have different drawing, right? Have different accuracy of the drawing the line. So the graph that you draw, it might fall out of the range of the values. So how you make sure that the line that you draw is the tangent, the value of the gradient that you get is within the answer. That's the problem here, right? Well, different people have different way of drawing. I mean, different one, the gradient will be different one. So the way to solve this kind of problem, you know it, right? I taught in the class, right, how we solve this kind of problem to avoid our hand drawing problem. To make sure we always get the perfect line for the tangent. We can apply the knowledge of what? The linear law. Y equals to mx plus c, right? Okay. You want to find gradient? Yes. One of the method is by graphical method, by drawing the tangent line. Yes, you can do that. This is traditional method. Before we learn about calculus, right? You learn calculus, you know there's another way to get a gradient. You don't need to draw one, right? Using what? dy dx, right? You can use dy dx to help you. So in math, that include the topics of dy dx already. So you learn how to use dy dx. If you don't know, you can also use calculator to help you. I'm not going to show you again. You should know how to use your calculator to find out dy dx values. So let's do the dy dx. It will be 3x squared over 3. And this one will be what? You make it to a index form. Like this one, right? Then become 2 over 2, that is 1. That means is 1, like this one, right? Correct? Help me to check whether correct or not. Correct? No problem. All right. So this is dy dx. You can further simplify this. All right. Then now you put in the values of x is what? -2, right? -2. Sum in the values -2. All this can be done using calculator one. Actually, you don't need to do the dy dx one. Normally, I just use my calculator to help me to do the dy dx. Maybe I should show you, right? Oh, should I? I'll show you how. Yeah, let me show. I'm show again this one. Oh, it's not connected here. Sorry. Just wait for a while. It's coming out. All right, here. Okay. So how we use the calculator to help us to find out the dy dx? You clear your calculator first. Okay, back to the normal mode. Okay, press 1, go back. All right, look at the function. What is the function here? This one. So dy dx is this button, dy dx. Okay, and then put a fraction, x, and then to the power of 3 over 3 minus, and then put half, put the fraction 1 over the 2 x squared. And the x value, you just put in minus 2. So you straight away get the answer, 3.875. So now you know the value of the gradient already. So by using this value, then we can try to draw the perfect tangent line. So how to do that? Okay, remember the value is 3. The easiest way you can, after you draw the line, if you found that your value is not close to this one, then you try to adjust your line. If not, okay, you can just choose 2 points. Make sure these 2 points lie on the tangent line. Then you draw it. Then you join the lines. Then you can get a perfect tangent line. So now let me show you how. Yeah, let me show you how. Okay, now you know the value is 3.875. So you want to draw a line, so you need 2 points. One of the points is given here. This one, minus 2. How about the y? Minus 2 and negative 2.8. All right. So the gradient you also know. And let's say you want to find the point that cut at the y-axis, the y-intercept. You want to find out y-intercept. So y-intercept, what coordinate is 0? X coordinate is 0, right, for y-intercept. So now you know the 2 points. One is negative 2. The other one is negative 2.8. And then another point is 0. You don't know the y-intercept, correct or not? So you want to find out the y using the gradient. Right, the gradient formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So you can take y minus become plus, over x minus 2, right? Equals to, the x is what? 2, right? Let me check again. It's 2, right? But bottom there is 2. 0 minus 2 is 2. So equals to 3.875. Correct? So now you can find y. Let's find out the y will be what? You take the 3.875, you times 2, you minus 2.8. That gives you y equals to 4.95. Then you know your y-intercept already. So 4.95, look for 4.95. Where is it? Around here. Okay, around that point. So another point is this one. Then now, do you feel confident enough to draw a perfect tangent line? Yes, that's the way, right? So from here, you draw it all the way to here. Then you will 100% sure that your tangent line will be within the range of the answer. My drawing is not good. All right, this make sure you use your ruler. to draw the tangent line. All right. Make sure it touches, not like this one. It must touch at this point one. So there's a technique of drawing the tangent line. If you know the concept of this thing, the straight line. And right now, equation of tangent to the curve at x equals to -2. This one we have done it just now. Right? After you get the gradient, the C, how you find C? Just now I show you how to find C already. You just do the same thing here. You just copy down this one to find out the C. All right? Find out the C. Put it here, copy down here. And then you just write a complete answer. Y equals to M is 3.8 3.88 and then mx plus 4.95. Right? So this is our answer. Then use your graph to solve the equation. So to solve an equation, we have different methods. Okay, we can solve using the graphical method. That means make sure you have two graphs drawn on the same axis. So this one, you look at the right hand side, is 0, right? So 0, that means we are looking for the x-intercept. Okay, so look for the x-intercept. This is a very common question one. You must know how to answer it. So where is the x-intercept? Here. Right? X-intercept is here. What else? There's only one. So you give one answer. Is it one answer? Yeah, 1 point. So this one, you have to make sure the left-hand side is always the same as the function of the graph. The function of the graph is only this part, right? The first two fractions. So 4 is not included here, so you move it to the right-hand side. So that means what? On the right-hand side, you have -4. That means you are going to draw the graph for y equals to -4. Okay, always remember, y equals -4 is a horizontal vertical line. It's horizontal. So always make sure you draw a horizontal line. Okay? Sometimes it could be vertical, so you have to look at the question carefully one. So this is the one. All right, this is the one. Then you look for the intersection point of the curve. Don't confuse with the other lines. So you got to find out. Okay, this one I won't discuss anymore. Okay, I'll only discuss those common questions only. We are running out of time. Now about 10 already. So I will move on to the next. Okay. This one I think I can skip already. Okay. Now this is another one. Solving the quadratic equation is very common. Why? Because a lot of topics involve solving quadratic equation. Right? When you have a problem, sometimes you have to deal with the quadratic equation. So you must know how to solve. This is considered as a basic one in mathematics, solving quadratic equations. But you have 3 different ways, right, to solve quadratic equation. Factorization, using formula, and completing the square. But we seldom use completing the square unless it tells you to do so. But they never tell you to use completing the square one. So you just use factorization or formula. So how should you know whether you use factorization or formula? First of all, you make sure the equation is quadratic. That means what? The highest power is 2. And this case is for B is not 0, C is not 0. There's a case that B is 0 or C is 0, right? In this case, A, B, C are there. All right, A, B, C are there. So check whether it can be figured out or not using calculator. This one you should know also how to check using the calculator. Or should I show you? No, right? I don't have time to show you how to use calculator to check whether it can be factorized. Okay, so if cannot, then you use quadratic formula. All right, then you just substitute the value A, B, C into formula, get the answer, and don't forget verify the answer using the calculator. This one, if can be factorized, then you write down the answer from calculator. All right, how we know that it can be factorized? Because we can always get the roots of the quadratic equation from calculator. So you always can get the answer first. Then you know whether it can be factorized. It cannot be factorized, then the answer will be recurring decimal cases, or not recurring, it's a non-exact value. It's not exact value or irrational numbers one. Or sometimes you see I, right? I. That means it cannot be factorized. It cannot be factorized, then you go to formula only. Or if you see I, that means there's no roots. Okay? If you see I, there's no roots. And then again, you have to work backwards, right? After you get the answer, you have to work backwards from to get the factors. So let's see the questions here. I will go faster. So first of all, make sure this is quadratic equation. So I have to make sure whether they can be factorized or not. So this one, you use your calculator. You should know. So we go to the equation and then polynomial, degree power 2. Then you key in the A, B, C. 3 is A, B is the minus 8, C is the 4. Then from your calculator, it will show you the answer 2. All right, the answer is 2. The other one is 2/3. So now you know that it can be factorized. This quadratic equation, it can be factorized. But how we convert back to the factors? So if it can be factorized, we use factorizations. You need to show the factors, the product of two factors. You must show one. You cannot just write your answer like this one. I don't think they will give you marks if you just straight away write. I don't think they will give you marks. Okay, you must show your working, right? How to show the working? You move the answer, right? This one to the left. Make sure the right hand side is 0. So it's x minus 2. You move the left hand side, become x minus 2. This one, are you going to move the 2/3 to the left hand side? No, you don't do that, right? When it comes to fractions, you always times the denominator first. Then only you move the numerator. So basically, you are doing this one. 3x equals to 2, right? And then you move the 2 to the left hand side. So it's actually 3x minus 2. So we put it here. 3x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay? So make sure you show your complete working here. This is a must, showing the factorizations. They only give your final answer. All right. So now, okay, another thing that I want to mention is, okay, for the part B, it cannot be factorized. So if you try to use a calculator, it gives you a non-exact value one. You know it's non-exact, then you straight away apply the formula. Right? So you have to memorize the formula. It's not given in the question paper. You have to memorize it. And for the question C, you see question C, actually they're having the same one. Right, they're having the same answer as question A. But the problem is there's a mistake from a student. If you use calculator, the calculator gives you the answer, yes. The calculator gives you x equals to 2 or x equals to 2/3. If you do the same thing as the question A, then you have the same factor as the question A, right? Correct or not? But tell you what, this will be wrong. Why wrong? Still follow the same step like why I teach you what. But why is this still wrong? Anyone can find out the mistake here? The answer is correct. X equal to 2, x equal to 2/3, but the factorization is wrong. Right, you see, x times 3x, you have 3x squared. It's not the 9x squared. So that's the problem here. Because why you have this problem? Because this equation is not simplified. So you have to simplify it first. Sometimes the question only asks you to factorize it, not giving the answer, not find out the roots. So you have to know how to deal with this one. If they ask you to find out the answer, yes, you can simplify it by reducing this one to the question A. Yes, you divide this equation by 3. But if they ask you to only factorize, you don't go to convert it to question A. It only asks you to factorize this one, part C. You take out the 3 only. And then only you do the factorization. You don't take away the 3. You take away the 3, then mark will be -1. This is factorization only, not finding the answer. If finding the x, yes, you can take away the 3 because if solving equation, you have equation, right? You have equals to 0. You can take away the 3 by dividing this equation by 3. You can remove the 3. But if the question asks you to factorize only, you cannot take away the 3. Understand or not? Make sure you understand. If factorize only, you cannot take away the 3. 3 must be there one. All right, then I go to next part. Okay, this one, I think you should know. I'm not going to take too long on this. All right, this one is without C. Without C, you just take out the x, just pick out the x. Pick out the x, right? The first one, okay, equals to 0, right? Pick out the x, this one. So this one, you know, x equals to 0 or x equals to 8/3. This is common one, right? All of you should know already. I'm not going to talk about this in details. So now we move to the next one. This one, if the C is not 0, D is 0. What happened? Okay, these are the steps actually. So this one, you see there's no B. So this one, we just have to move the number 16 to the right hand side. Okay, and then you can just take the square root as simple as that. Okay, no need to do anything for this. I mean, it's quite simple, this one. All right. Next, we move on to solution of triangle. Okay, solution of triangle is also quite important because it involved in many areas, like what? Like the bearing. Bearing, you need to use solution of triangle. And sometimes the 3D diagram. Sometimes they ask you to find out the angle between the line and the plane, right? Line and the plane, or line between line and the base. So something you have to do to deal with the 3D diagram, you have to apply the solution of triangle. So for solution of triangle, you have right angle triangle and non-right angle triangle, right? So you have to check whether the triangle is right angle or not. If no, then what should we do? If the triangle is not a right angle, not a triangle, then you can apply the sine rule or cosine rule. If the triangle is right angle triangle, then you can apply the particular theorems or trigo ratios. All right, this is our flow chart. All right, use the particular theorems. Let's say this is a right angle triangle. So after you know that you need to use particular theorems, then what do you check? Check if other angles are given. Right? You don't know whether you need to use particulars or trigo ratio, right? So the only thing to differentiate between particulars and a trigo ratio is whether the angles is given. Right? If none of the angles are given, you use particular theorems. You cannot apply trigo ratio one. Trigo ratio must involve angle one. If angle is given, then you use the trigo ratio. Right? If angle is not given, you use particular theorems. If angle is given, then you use trigo ratio. This is for right angle triangle. How about the cosine rule? How to use the cosine rule? We have two cases for cosine rule. One is look for the V shape. The V shape means what? We have adjacent sides, 6 and 8 are given. This is called adjacent side. Adjacent side. And then there's a included angle between the adjacent sides. Included angle is this one. So it looks like a V shape, right? A V shape. So when you see this kind of V shape, be given side, adjacent side, and the angle, the included angle, then you can apply the cosine rule. And there's another case. Guess what? There's another case that you can use cosine rule. You should know, right? When you do a lot of this kind of question, you know when to use cosine rule. Second case, two side. Funny angle. Given what? Funny angle, you can use sine rule. What? Yes, you're right. If all the three sides are given, three sides of that are given without any angles. You see, only three sides are given without any angle. You can't find any angle, and this is not a right angle triangle. Only sides are given. Use cosine rule. Don't you think too much, man? You know it. It's cosine rule. Yeah. So this one, triangle has a length 2 cm, 8 cm, and 9 cm. Our class until 11, right? I thought until 10:30. 11, right? So you have 1 hour to go. All right. Okay. A triangle has a side of length 2 cm, 8 cm, and 9 cm. So calculate the value of the largest angle in this triangle. Okay. So you have to imagine a triangle first. Is there any angles given here? No, right? So the largest one is 9 cm here. This one is 8 cm. Maybe the other one. Okay, this one 8 cm, maybe this 2 cm. All right. So only sides are given without any angle. Then you know already what to do. right, is using the cosine rule. The largest angle is which one? Largest angle. How do you know which one is the largest one? The larger angle always corresponds to the opposite side one. Okay, if the opposite side has the largest length, then itself is the largest angle. So this one is the largest angle here, because opposite side is the longest length. So that means what? Which one adjacent side? Adjacent side is your 8 and 2. Okay, we use 8, 2, and then the included angle, the theta. Okay. So this one I'm not going to show you how to do this, to show you the techniques only, the process of solving the questions. You try to do it by yourself. Okay, the answer is 113.3. You have to find out. Okay. This one, PR. How to get PR? This is quite simple. Right? This is not a V shape. This is not the second case. The second case means all the three sides are given. So this, if not the two cases, then this must be sine rule already. This is sine rule already, because opposite side angles and opposite side are given. Then you need to find PR, right? PR is here. And opposite angle also given. The opposite angle is also given. So you should know, okay, when you apply the sine rule, always remember, put the things that you want to find out, put it on top. Right? So you want to find PR, put PR on top. Put PR on top, PR over the sine of the opposite angles, that is what? 37. Equals to 12.5 over sine 66. All right, so that's 6. So by doing this, then it will be easy for you to find PR. How? Just by taking this fraction, and then you times the sine 37. If you put the PR at the bottom, then you have a trouble there. You have to flip the fractions. Okay, so make sure the thing they want to find out, put it on top. All right, next thing, this one. How should we do? We should apply what? Sine rule? Cosine rule? To find what? Let's see, to find what first. To find out the x. Any idea? Sine rule, is it possible? You always think about sine rule first, actually. If sine rule is not possible, then you go to cosine rule. Which one possible? Sine rule, is it possible? Let's see. There's a length here given, 21. Opposite angle, yes, is given. That fulfills the sine rule, right? You need the opposite, the pair of angles and opposite side. But if you look at another pair, there's no other angles given, right? This angle is not given. This angle is also not given. Then the opposite side are unknowns. So you have trouble here. You cannot apply the sine rule. If you try to apply the sine rule, then you start halfway here. Right? Sine. Then you don't know equals to what. You don't know what to equal. Right? Because there's no length, there's no angle anymore. So this one, you have to use cosine rule. Cosine rule. Let me show you how to solve. So 21 square equals to, you must assume that this is C, these two are AB. You must recognize which one is adjacent side. Adjacent side is the one that makes the included angle 120, the one, the V shape. Always recognize the V shape. V shape is the adjacent side. All right. So 21 square equals to the square of 2x plus the square of x, and then minus 2x x cos 120. Right? That's the way we solve it. So how we solve for the x here seems a bit complicated, right? So use your calculator to find out what is cos 120 first. You have 0 point something. No. When you use the calculator, make sure your calculator in degree mode. Because some MS student, they will use the radian mode. All right, so make sure it's in degree mode. Is negative half. It's negative half. So we have 21 square 4x squared plus x squared minus 4x squared times negative half, right? Then you can simplify the like terms here. So 4 and half, they give you positive 2, right? Minus 4 times minus half, they give you positive 2. So now you have 4x squared plus x squared plus 2x squared. Combine all the like terms. 4 plus 1, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. So now you know how to find x squared equals to x squared equals to 1 squared over 7. So that's give you what? Then you take the square root, right? X equals to square root of 63. Let's give you 7.94. So this is something to do with algebra already, because you are solving for the unknowns. You have to know how to deal with the algebra things here. Okay, so 7.94 is the answer, correct? Now this one. What do you think about this? The one I show you a big challenging one, this one actually. This one I only show you the techniques to solve this, not going to show you all the working. All right. When you see this kind of question, it says the radius x centimeters. X, and then this x. All right, so B and C are the centers of the circles. All right, what else is given here? All right, 3.8. Okay, radius 3.8 centimeter. Angle 70. Okay, where is 3.8? 3.8 is here. So you want to find x. X is here. Okay. So any idea to solve these kind of questions? Okay, that means you can use which rule? Sine rule? Yeah, you can use sine rule. Or you can just use a right angle triangle. Right? Because here you can separate into two parts. Can you see it? And then here is a right angle. So you can apply the trigonometric ratio now. Right? 3.8 is here. Angle is 70. You can find out the hypotenuse, right? The hypotenuse. After that, you minus the 3.8. You get the x already. Right? It's much simpler, right? Compared to if you use sine rule or cosine rule. All right, I only show you the idea of solving the questions. Not going to show the working. All right, next one. Similarity between the length. Okay, similarity also involved in certain areas, not only in figures, triangles. Okay, so this one also involved in the model and the actual things. The model object, the model drawing, the skill drawing, and the actual drawing. And another one is the transformation. When it comes to transformation, sometimes they ask you to find out the area using the ratio of length. Right? So it's something to do with this one, similarity. So when you want to find out the similarity between the length, so this equation you can apply. So L2 over L1 equals to H2 over H1. All of you know, very basic this one. Okay. So let's see this one. Okay. This one I'm going to show you because I found that there's another shortcut way to solve this kind of questions. If you don't know, right? If you don't know, then you will use the normal methods, which takes longer time to solve this. Okay, at first, find x is not a problem. It's a very easy one. Find x. Okay, so according to the similarity, that's now the ratio of length. So how should we get the x here? You need to recognize the corresponding side, right? You need to know the two similar triangles here. Right? There are two triangles, they are similar, and you must know which side corresponds to which side. Okay, look at this one. We have a big triangle. Okay, we have a big triangle and a small triangle here. The 6, 4y is a small triangle. And then we have y plus 3, and then x, and then 8 as a big triangle. So you must know that this side here, x is correspond to which side? X is correspond to the 4. All right, okay, wait for a while. Sorry, I'll do some setting here. You know why there's a sound? Because of my apps. I'm using the annotation. Whenever I turn off the annotation, there's a sound one. Okay, I will try to turn it off, but cannot. It's okay. Okay, this one, x over 4. You must know that x is correspond to 4, right? This side is correspond to that side. How about another one? This one, right? This one. 8. 8 correspond to 6, right? You know it, 6. So 8 over 6. So this is how we apply it. Finding the ratio of the length. X over 4 equals to 8 over 6. Then the x equals to 8 over 6 times 4. So you get the answer. 4 over 3 times 4. 16 over 3, huh? Okay, getting the x is not a problem. Okay, it's quite straightforward. But how about the y? How about the y? How are you going to solve for the y? Huh? You know, if you don't know the shortcut way, what the student will do is they will take the y plus 3, right? You want to take the side, right? The longest one. Over what? Over which side? Y plus 3 correspond to which side? This side, this base, right? This base correspond to the base of the smaller triangle, right? That's why it's a base of smaller triangle. It's y. So divided by y equals to this one, easy already, right? You choose the 8 divided by 8 divided by what? 6. Okay, 6, you know it. Then you have to solve for this equation which involve the unknowns. So it will be quite complicated already. You have to do the cross multiplication, do the expansion, and then you group the like terms, and then you solve for the y. So it takes longer time if you use this method. There's another method. Guess what? Anyone know? This is another method. You can try to draw a parallel lines. All right. Okay. These two parallel lines are given. All right. Are drawn for you. You can draw another parallel line. There are two ways. One way is you can draw like this. This one is parallel to this one. Okay. I will show you another line. I'll show you the first one first. Okay. So you can draw a line from here to here, which is parallel to this one. Then now you see there are two triangles, two similar triangles. Where is it? This is the one. You see, when you draw it, you see that is it a parallelogram? Do you notice that this is a parallelogram? These two sides are parallel, and these two sides also parallel, right? So parallelogram means what? Opposite side must be the same. This is straight, correct or not? So now you see this is a small triangle here, at the top here, small triangle, and you can apply this triangle. You can compare these two triangles. Can you see it? This triangle and this triangle, we can compare it. You see the base is what? Are you ready? This one. The base is y, right? For big triangle. So it's y over, this y correspond to 3. Can you see it? This is correspond to this one. They are parallel, right? So they have the same, I mean they are in a ratio. Okay, y over 3 equals to this side here, 6, right? 6 over 2. Yes. Then you can get it straight away. Can see, right? There's a difference, right? If you don't know this method, then you take longer time. If you know how to draw the parallel lines, then you're making another smaller triangle, then you make your job easier. So this one, y equals to 3 times 3. That gives you 9 straight away. Now you know how to apply it. We can also draw another line. Not here, but here. Same thing. It depends on where you want to draw the line. If you draw the line at here, then you know this too. Correct or not? You know the techniques already, right? The idea, yes? All right. So what you need to compare now? Any questions? No? All right. This one, you compare this one with this one. It's the same thing. Right? It's y over 3. Y, you compare y and 3, and then 6 and 2. So you still get the same thing. Okay? So anyway, you can draw the parallel lines. You still can get the same answer. Now you got it. So this is a technique to solve the questions. All right. This one, length and areas. Length and area, you have to know this equation that connects the length and area. Okay, the length have to be square. The ratio of length have to be square to get the ratio of the area. Look at the question here. Okay, two similar vases have the height in this ratio, and the surface area of the smaller vase is this one. You want to get the surface area of the largest vase. So even though we don't know the shape of this vase, right, the vases here, but we still can find out the surface area, right, using the similarity properties. All right, so we can use the formula just now. What you want to find here? Surface area, right? Surface area is A2 over A1 equals to L2 over L1 square. Okay, so apply this. You want to find the larger one, so make sure the values on top is the larger one. Okay, so it's 3 over 2. A2 over the A1, 252. All right. Then from here, you can solve for the A2. I need to show you the working end. All right. You should know how to solve for the A2. Use your calculator only. Now, next one. Length and volume. Length and volume, then we apply this. Right? You know. Length and volume, we can apply this. It's the cube of the ratio of length. You get the ratio of volume. So let's see the question. Two containers are minimally similar. You have the height 4.5 and 6. Then the volume of the smaller container is 54. Find the larger one. It's the same thing, right? So this one, you want to find the V2 over V1 equals to L2 over L1. You take the cube. So what is the L2? The one that is larger one, 6 over 4.5. Okay, to about 3. Okay, bear in mind, it's not always the larger one, the largest one on top. It depends on what you want to find. Sometimes it's the smaller one on top. But this question, it asks you to find out the larger one. So that's why you put the larger value on top. That's it, all right? So you use the calculator, you can find out the V2. Okay, how about areas and volumes? Anyone think about, just now, we only connect the length and the area, length and the volume. But how about area and the volume? How are you going to make that equation? If length and if area and volumes. All right, this equation. Okay, this is something maybe you don't know. So area and volumes, the ratio of the volume, it has to be square, and the ratio of the area, it has to be cubed. Then only we can connect to each other. Understand? This area and volume. Before this length and volume, length and area, right? So let's see how we apply this. So you see the two bottles, their labels are mathematically similar. So the smaller bottle contains 0.512 liters and area is 96. The larger bottle is 1 liter. So area of the larger label. So this one involves area and volume. So now you want to find out area. So what is the equation? You know there's a power, right, for the ratio. What should be the power for the ratio of area? 3, right? 3. It is 2. You must know this, huh? Then you just fill in the value. What is the V2? 1 liter. 0.512. This one you square it. This one, A2. A1 is 96. Okay, 96. All right, so basically you follow this, you have the answer. So before you find A2, you need to take the cube roots. So A2 over 96 will be 2 over 3, all right? Take the cube root, then you divide the 2 by 3. Then you times 96, then you can get A2. Okay? Next one, sequences. I think this will be the last one, huh? Sequences, okay? I will take half an hour to go through all this. All right, apply the arithmetic, arithmetic. So this is a formula, you know it. Is first term times plus the m minus 1 and then times d. And then we have GP, right? Geometric progressions. A times r to the power n minus 1. And then look for the quadratic sequence. Sometimes we have quadratic sequence. Right? So always remember 2a equals to second level difference. 2a plus b equals to first level difference. There's a mistake, the numbering there. It's okay. And then a plus b plus c equals to first term. All right. Then look at the pattern. The pattern vertically, not just horizontally. Okay. When you sometimes the question will give you a table. Give you a table, and then we always tend to look at it horizontally. Sometimes we forgot to say vertically. Okay. So that's the thing you need to take note. Another thing is a total number of first n diagrams questions. This one is a common mistake. Even though the smart student also make this mistake. They misunderstand about the total number of first n diagram. And what I need to discuss these sequences with you because it carries a lot of marks also sometimes. Right? And sometimes you have more than 10 marks, up to 10 marks, because it involves some solving equation like simultaneous equations. Okay, so let's see. So the first 4 diagrams in the sequence are shown above. Each diagram is made from dots and 1 centimeter lines. Okay, so the area of each small square is 1 cm square. And complete the table for diagram 5 and 6. All right, look at this one. So how we complete the table? So you have to study the pattern of the numbers here. Okay, look at the area. You start with 2, 6, 12, 20. Then you can guess for the next one. Can you guess for the next one? The difference is always increasing, right? Increasing by what? Right? It's 4, 6, 8, 10, right? Increase by 10, the next one. So it will be 30. The next one, you add 12, you get 42. So at first, we always look at it vertically horizontally okay, to study the pattern. Then we come to number of dots. Number of dots is 6, 12, 20, 30. How can you relate this one? Is it still the same? Is it finding the difference? 6, 8. Oh, yeah, right. The differences are increasing by 2. So 12, the next one is 42. Then you add 14. You get 56. Then we come to study the number of 1 centimeter lines. Then you check it. Look at the difference. It's 10. And then 17 to 31. 14. 49 minus 31. 18. Oh, okay. You still can see the pattern, right? Increasing by 4. Increasing by 4. So next one will be 22. All right, 22. 49 plus 22. 31. The next one will be, if you add 4 to 22, will be 26. Then 31 plus 26 is 97, right? So let's see all the answer. All right, this is the answer. Okay, just now I want to further talk about the last one, the number of 1 centimeter lines. Just now what I did is by studying horizontally, right? But this one you can actually study it vertically. Why? How can you relate the 2, 6, and 7? This one, you look at it vertically, look at it in column. 2, 6, and 7, how can you relate? So we come to, when I say relate, right, you just think about addition, subtraction, sometimes multiplication or division. But at first, we just think about the addition or subtraction only, right? So how to get 7 from 2 and 6? It's actually the 6 plus 1. But if 6 plus 1, this 12 plus 1 is not 17. Right? It doesn't make sense, right? So, I thought you got it. You didn't get it? Can you get it? How to look at it vertically? This one, 2 plus 6 is what? 8. But, yeah, to get 7, you minus 1. Is it apply the same thing here? Is it the same? 6 plus 12? 18 minus 1, you get 17. Then this one, 32, right? Minus 1, you get 31. Huh? 1 plus 2? No. This is a diagram. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the n. It's the number of n. So that's why, right? This is 20 plus 30 is 50. Minus 1, you get 49. Now you see the pattern. So sometimes you look at it vertically. Don't always look at it horizontally. Okay? So now, why this is so important? Because later, sometimes they will ask you to form the equation, the formula for this one. If you don't know the relationship between the patterns, the sequences, then you have trouble to find out the formula. Okay? So this one, the area of the diagram N is this one. So find the area of diagram 50. How we get this? This is a formula. Oh, you don't need to find formula. It's given, right? So this one is very easy. So sum in the N, right? Okay, you will have the answer 2550. Then which diagram has an area of 930? So since you know the formula, you can just equate that formula to this value, 930. So n times n plus 1 equals to 930, correct or not? Now you know why, right? Sometimes why the question can up to 10 marks or more than 10, because a lot of sub questions can involve solving the equations. You see, again, we are dealing with what? Dealing with the quadratic equation. So solving quadratic equation is a basic one in math. So you must know how to solve it. Okay, this is the equation that we get. So as you can see, if you use your crisscross method without using your calculator, that will be very, very hard, because 930 is a very big number. There are a lot of factors in 930. You have to guess one by one if you don't want to use your calculator. So make sure you utilize your calculator to help you to find out the factor. Okay, so one of the answer is what? 30, another one is minus 31. 30, right? This is what you get. So in the end, you know the value must be positive. So n equals to 30. All right. Then how about the find in terms of n, the number of dots in diagram n? So that means this one, you want to find formula. How you deal with these dots? How you deal with this? Are you going to use a quadratic sequence, the formula? Right, you see there are two levels, right? Two levels to get the common difference. Yes, you can apply that, but can we have an alternative way? So because applying the quadratic sequence, the formula is taking long time, right? It's taking a long time. So actually you can study back about the table just now. Can you find the relationship between the first sequence and the second sequence? The area and number of dots. If you cannot find the pattern, the relationship, then you have to apply the quadratic sequence. That means you have to solve the three equations. 2a equals to the second level difference, and then 3a plus b equals to the first level difference. A plus b plus c equals to the first term, right? Then it takes a long time. So anyone find the relationship between area and number of dots? When you fill out the table, you find the relationship, right? You cannot find the relationship between the area and number of dots. You see, the second one always same with the first one. Right? So if you have the formula for areas, then can we find out the formula for number of dots? You can, right? Just do some adjustment. How you do the adjustment here? All right, if you put n equals to 1, you are getting actually the previous term. Correct or not? That formula, okay, is actually for the previous term. That means, let me think about it. I also have to think about it. You can try. If you're not sure, you can try. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right, this is a formula. Right, for the area. And now you want to find out the dot because you know that it's always same as the previous one, right? Okay, the current value of the area same as the previous value of the number of dots. Okay, this one is either the n minus 1 or n plus 1 only. Let's say I put n equals to 1. Definitely I have 2, which is the previous term. So let me see if n plus 1 works or not. If I plus 1, I got n plus 2. So 2 times 3, I get 6, which is correct. Right? I go to add 1 to this, both of these. You can check if n equals to 1, right, is 1 plus 1 times 1 plus 2. Let's give you 2 times 3 is 6, right? Correct or not? If n is 1, is 6. Yes, match for the first term. How about the second term? N equals to 2. Let's apply this formula again. It's not this one. 2 plus 1 times 2 plus 2. Let's give you 3 times 4, which is 12. Again, it's correct. See, right? If n is 2, it's 12. If n is 1, it's 6. So now you know this is the formula. N plus 1 times n plus 2. So how I know that actually? I know it must be modified from here. right? It's not be modified from here. You just have to add 1. Because if you put 1, you always get the previous one. To get the current one, you need to add 1 to the n. Correct or not? Understand the concept here? If you add 1 to this n, you get n plus 1. If you add 1 to this n, you have n plus 1, and then you plus another 1. That's why I give you n plus 2 here. That's why the formula is n plus 1 times n plus 2. So by studying the patterns of the sequences, you don't need to apply the quadratic sequence anymore. Fair or not? Here's the technique, right? This is how we skip the tedious working. Yeah? They don't expect you to use the quadratic sequence also. So this one you have to always study the pattern. Okay, n plus 1, n plus 2. All right. The next one is the number of 1 centimeter lines in this one. So that p equals to 4. How we do that? Still some of the students, they don't know how to solve for this. The number of 1 centimeter in diagram, the formula is given. And then how we show that p equals to 4. Okay, if the formula is given, you just have to sub in the values of n. Because from the table, you got the n value and the value of the term, right? The term. So if n is 1, the term is 7. So you can use these two values to help you to find out the p, right? The p. So the way to do this, n equals to 1. Then equal to 7, right? So you just have to solve for this equation, you can get the p. So this will be 2 plus p plus 1 equals to 7. P equals to 4. Then you show it. Or you can use the value of n equals to 2 also can, up to you. All right, this one you should know, find the number of centimeter in diagram 10. Just sub in the n equals to 10 only. All right. This one, this is the thing I want to emphasize also. Okay, look at this, another patterns here. The total number of centimeter line in the first n diagram is given by these expressions. There are two unknowns. Using n equals to 1, you want to prove that f plus g equals to 10 over 3. First part is okay. Most of the students can get it. How? Just letting the n equals to 1 into this equation, right? And then the value will be what? The output of this function will be what? If I put n equals to 1, oh, Zhenshuan, what do you think? How you prove this equation? This question is not too far away from you. It's actually like two years, maybe. Maybe possible to come out again, right? For 2 years. Okay. You sub in the n equals to 1 into this function. Okay, you will have what? Equals to? Look at the question carefully. What does it represent by this function here? This function represents what? It says what? The total number of 1 centimeter lines in the first n diagrams. So we have diagram 1, diagram 2, diagram 3, right? If I put n equals to 1, then the number of lines, the number of lines will be what? Okay, no one can answer it. It is 4. Yes, right. Look at the first diagram. It's only 4 lines. So it's 4. So then you can try to prove it. F plus g equals 10 over 3. Can you do it? 2 over 3. All right. If you bring over the 2 over 3 to the right hand side, to the left hand right hand side, will you get the 10 over 3? 4 minus 2 over 3. Yes, definitely. You get 10 over 3. Okay. As I say, first part, most of the students can get it, no problem. But you come to the second part, everyone try. Everyone try. This one. You try to prove. Can you prove or not? I think I give you some time to prove this one. You try. This one must try one. It's like half of students they don't know how to do one. If you don't know how to prove the second one, you know the third question what they ask? They ask you to solve these two equations, you know. Oh. So then you have to know if let's say this one is not given. Luckily this is given. The formula is given. The formula is not given. Then the next question they ask you to solve the simultaneous equations. Then the rest of the question gone already. Can or cannot? How to prove this? The second one. You get the idea, right? From the first one. If you try to apply the same thing for the second one, you might have some problem. Okay, let's try. Again, 2 over 3 times 2 to the power of 3 plus f times 2 to the power of 2 plus g times 2. This will be equals to? Anyone can tell? You need to count, right? How many lines there? This is diagram what? N equals to 2 means what? Diagram 2, right? How many lines in diagram 2? 1. I need to count one by one also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah? 12? Yeah. Oh, you get 12 for diagram 2, is it? Yeah. Oh, 12? Why I get 10? Is it 10 or 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, it's 12, right? Oh, I have to count carefully. This one is 12. So should you put this as 12? No. When I say it that way, it seems like not correct. I just want to like scare you. Doesn't mean that it's not correct, right? Just have trust yourself, be confident, right? But anyway, this is not correct. Okay. It's not correct. Why? Yeah, you have to find out why. Why is not equal to 12? Now, give you some time to think about it. If this year come out, then how? You lose a lot of mark already. Now, less than 5 minutes, right? This is the last one already. Oh, Zoom people, anyone know? It's not equal to 12. It should be equal to, come. I thought we apply the same thing, right, as the first part. Diagram 1, we count out how many lines. There's 4 lines, and yes. And then we come n equals to 2. Suppose we follow diagram 2, what? Diagram 2 showing us is 12. But why putting 12 is not correct? You try to put 12, you cannot prove one. Can you prove it? I don't think you can get 4f plus 2g equals to 32 over 3. Hey, what you say? 16. Why? Why 16? From 12 to 16? Wow, like that also can. Okay. How you know it's 16? 4 for each box. Then, how does it relate to the... Okay. I review the answer. I think we don't have time anymore, right? Still got 5 more minutes, right? Just review the answer. Okay. Look at the question carefully. All right. So remember just now I got the notes there. I highlight the notes there actually. You see, before I talk about sequences, the last thing, number 5. Watch out the total number of first n diagram questions. You must understand what does it mean by this total number of first n diagram. What does it mean? The total number of the lines in the first n diagrams. Like 2. Okay, let's say n is 2. That means what? The total number of lines in the first 2 diagrams. What does it mean? Yeah, 1 and 2 you have to add together the total number of the lines in the first 2 diagrams. So you have to consider the lines in diagram 1. Yes, diagram 3, add from 1 all the way to 3. That's the meaning of the total number of lines in the first n diagrams. Now you learn, don't repeat the same mistake in your final exam. So it should be 16. Then eventually you can get the answer one. You try to prove it out. Okay, let's see what we have. Actually, no more. Okay, so that's the end of this workshop already. So wish you all the best. Be calm during your exam and sleep earlier, right? Before the exam. All right, you for yourself, do your prayer yourself. Okay, all the best to you. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.